And now, Moloko, some sensational claims, as I suppose we have now come to expect from Julius Malema. Have we had any reaction from the two gentlemen that's been mentioned by Malema or the ANC itself?
Hello, Marcel. Absolutely very damning allegations there made by the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters against these two senior leaders of the African National Congress. Of course, Derek Hanekom is a member of the ANC National Executive Committee, and Mapaila is the Deputy General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, which is in alliance with the African National Congress. I tried to get hold of the two men, Derek Hanekom, as well as Mapaila. Their phones are ringing unanswered. But of course, we are at Luthuli House to get the reaction from the governing party. We are in conversation with Pule Mabe. He is the national spokesperson of the ANC. Ntate Mabe, thank you so much. Very serious allegations made by Julius Malema. Are you surprised?
Moloko, I really don't think that we should be getting into the space of being surprised or not being surprised. What is important is that these are serious allegations that are being made. Unfortunately, within the political scene, a lot of things get to be said. Now, we will not know whether what is being said is factual or not, and all of that, you know, until such time that the things that are being said out there in the public are either tested, confirmed, or refuted. At the very first instance, glimpse when they come out, they could just be a part of the body politics, you know, given what would be happening at that time. But with this one, and media reports now suggest that there could have been a conversation of sorts with the comrades, where some confirmation of a meeting might have taken place. And these are, of course, what we are seeing in the media.
But let's say, given the reports that we saw out there, Mr. Derek Hanekom admitting that he held similar meetings with the EFF leadership, specifically their Secretary General. Just on the face of that, I mean, is this not in violation of your constitution or party principles?
Well, I try to look at the media reports. Now, the only thing that is lagging in those media reports is that they are not giving you and me the details of what would have been said in those meetings. There's no any form of transcript, none whatsoever.
Granted, but what if evidence is there in the end after you have investigated?
Well, even if it was not Comrade Derek or any other, the constitution of the ANC is quite prescriptive on the conduct of members. Actually, Rule 25.2 and Rule 25.3 under the Code of Conduct of the African National Congress call on all our members to understand policies of the organization, including public representatives, do everything else that they can to defend those resolutions of the ANC. Now, what are the resolutions of the ANC? Which is very important. The president of the African National Congress is a resolution of conference. That's why when you open this book, just give me a second there. When you open this book, which is the report and resolutions of the African National Congress, on the very first page of this book that outlines the resolutions of the ANC, I think is somewhere in the very beginning of the book. You then come across, I think, the very first part before you go far with the report. The very first page.
What does it say?
It's the names of the members of the National Executive Committee. Why am I raising this? I'm raising this because the leadership of the ANC elected at a conference become a resolution of that conference.
So basically what you're saying, Mr. Mabe, sorry, we don't have enough time. What you are saying, if I understand you correctly, is that if indeed it's true, after you would have satisfied yourself and you find out that indeed these two gentlemen did commit this particular act, they would have violated the constitution of the ANC?
Well, anyone who participates in activities that are in transgression of the resolutions of the ANC would be in violation. It doesn't matter who it is. You know, it doesn't really matter. So now, at the time when President Zuma, you see, the position of president of the country, if there is one person who is guaranteed a position in the ANC, is the president. There's a special resolution taken at the Polokwane conference that the president of the ANC shall be the president of the country if the ANC wins.
And seemingly these two wanted to remove him.
That's why I'm saying that it would have been a resolution at that time. It's a resolution of the 53rd. It would have been, so President Zuma would have been a resolution of the 53rd National Conference. So now you and I are not privy to those engagements. I wouldn't want us to take a preemptive stand. All I'm doing here is to explain what enjoins us as principles. These are principles.
Yeah.
So now these principles are beyond individuals.
Yeah.
They are contained in a supreme law. The supreme law of the ANC is something called the Constitution. Now that Constitution even outlined instances under which matters of discipline could be considered.
What's going to happen in terms of the discipline now?
Well, we do not have the details, you and I.
But what are you going to do? I'm sure you're not going to sit back.
Well, of course. For instance, let's take a conversation on the establishment of smaller political parties. What did we do? We set up terms of reference, and we sought to bring in stalwarts, of course, former President and who's also the former SG of the organization, President Kgalema, said that he would not be available because of certain prior pressing. But I want to go to your question, because if you stop me, you are going to also. But I'm trying to help you on, unless Mulugu is aware of what is going to happen. I'm trying to make this point on what is going to be happening. So if you take away that, you are actually denying the viewers of ENCA to know what the ANC is going to be doing. Can I be allowed to at least proceed there? Okay, no thanks. We have got the National Executive Committee meeting that is sitting over this weekend. These media reports are media reports that are out there. Well, like you are saying that Comrade Derek Hanekom has confirmed to having had a meeting. What we do not know is the details of that meeting. Now, it would be preemptive of us at this stage to conclude on the detail of a meeting we're not a part of. Should the NEC of the ANC, in the same way it did with smaller political parties, arrive at a determination that in looking at all of these things, perhaps this also warrants special attention, the ANC would then have pronounced itself through its highest decision-making body in between conferences called the NEC. Will then come out of the NEC and communicate with yourselves. Yeah. What I thought I must do is that explain the principles that guide and govern discipline in the African National Congress.
Okay, I understand that the ANC constitution is clear that you cannot, for instance, be a member of another political party. If really it's true that Mr. Hanekom was plotting, or indeed told the EFF leaders that if Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma had won in Nasrec, he would form another party. Is that not necessarily saying that perhaps he had already moved himself outside the ANC?
Perhaps the first statement to make, Ndademuluku, to you and the viewers of ENCA, is that where we are sitting, we have got full confidence in members of the National Executive Committee, including Comrade Derek, who were elected at the 54th National Conference. Let's start from there. The ANC has not undertaken any work or instituted any inquiry that would allow it to pronounce differently on the confidence it expresses on its own individual leaders. So now, I wouldn't want us to draw an organization into preemptive strikes. Yeah. What we do ourselves is to restate what are principles of the organization. Okay,
thank you so much. Pule Mabe, he is the national spokesperson of the African National Congress. Ironically, Marcel, it was Derek Hanekom who, at that time was chairing the National Disciplinary Committee of the African National Congress when it decided to expel Julius Malema from the ANC, and it was President Cyril Ramaphosa at the time who was chairing the Appeals Committee that confirmed the decision taken by that committee that was chaired by by Derek Hanekom. Now, it is Malema today who is now coming back, possibly to make Derek Hanekom's life difficult.
We'll leave it there for now. ENCA's Moloko Moloto reporting to us live there from Flatuli House.